It is called the S-911 Bracelet. And just picture it as a designer watch. Some of the bigger designer watches that you see out there are a diving watch. This watch has in it, or bracelet, has GPS and AGPS tracking. It is also a cell phone for two-way emergency communications. It has an accelerator meter, which reports impacts and falls. And one of the biggest keys is a geofence capabilities. It also has an overspeed alert, and it comes with its own personal website.
Going to need a definition, because a lot of people say, I don't know what a geofence is. GPS, yeah, I think I know what that is. What do those things mean in a small definition?
Yeah, well, these are all benefits, and I'll go through with them. First off and foremost is the GPS and AGPS unit. This means that this unit can be tracked outdoors and indoors within a range of 50 meters. It is a cell phone giving two-way communication. It being an emergency device, it automatically answers. So when you call the cell phone to check on Dad, he does not have to press any buttons. It automatically answers and has the speaker capabilities.
Okay, so for people who are listening and they're trying to put a handle on what we're talking about, I just want to try to give them a word picture. So we're talking about some type of a device that Dad or Mom has that has these functions on it, and we're able to keep up with them. Is that correct?
That's correct. It has the accelerator meter on it, which is measured by a fall, a distance, all calculated out, so that if a person is standing up and they fall over backwards, this device will measure that distance, and based on their calculations, then it will then send a signal out to the responsible party that Dad has fallen. So it measures a distance and speed for the person going down. It can also be used for, let's say the person is still capable of driving and is out driving and they get into a wreck. That shock sensor, G-shock sensor they call it, will then also send an alert. So we can have a fall or some sort of impact with it and be alerted to that fact.
So I want to summarize in a real quick. So we have a situation where we can keep up with a relative. If they fall, if some of these things happen, it's instant notification of exactly what's happening to that individual.
Yes, correct. The one part I really is going to make a difference is the geofence. And you ask, what is a geofence? People that wander off, we want to try and control them, but still give them some independence. A geofence is an invisible fence that is set on your personal website, and you set it. You're the one, not a company. You're the one, so that you can always change it. Let's say Dad wanders, but he's capable of going down to the local store a block away. He gets past that point, he gets lost. You go onto your personal website on Google Earth, and you set an imaginary boundary 1 block around your house, so that when he crosses that block, that invisible fence, you get immediately alerted. It goes into real-time tracking. You go on to your website, and you will see them on Google Earth, and you will see them actually moving and give the speed and direction and what address they're in front of at that time while on a map.
This is phenomenal information, because I think of 2 people who have lost their lives in the last 2 months. A gentleman in the west part of town, and a lady got in her car and went north toward New River. Both of them, as we know in the news, they ended up passing away.
Yeah, that's correct.
This is your long-term care radio show. We have Jim Jeselun of Adiant Solutions today talking about technology and how it can help you and your family in the area of caregiving geriatric management. Jim, continue on.
Okay, the geofence can be used in a different way also. And we got a call in, and we didn't think of this one situation, but the lady called in and said, my mother wanders, but I'm more afraid of her going down to the lake and falling into the nearby lake. That's my greatest fear. Well, you have unlimited geofences, and it means that if a person is in an area and goes to a restricted area, and they cross that boundary of, let's say that you have it set a block around the lake, or even tighter, that once they cross it, you'll be notified. So you can restrict areas, to keep them in, or you can let them have more freedom and restrict the areas that they go into, such as a lake or some other other place that you don't want your loved one to go.
And thinking out loud, the person that could be notified could be a daughter, a son, 2 or 3 different people. We have family members who are, I'll use the term on call, so that they know how to respond if mom or dad or a relative has a situation.
And what happens with our system is there's the first person is notified on the list that is pre-programmed. We program it at the office before we send it out. And if that phone isn't answered or it goes to an automatic voicemail, that's detected, then it rolls to the second number. If the second number has the same thing, it's unanswered or goes to a voicemail, automatic voicemail, then it goes to a report center and it is called into 911 that this person is either lost or in trouble. You know my background.
I do.
As a police officer.
I do.
I found numerous people, several of them, that were walking around, nude in 110-degree days, and you'd find them and you go, oh, good, I'm helping this person out, but now who are they and what do we do with them? And, the trouble is that they've been wandering. You don't know where they came from. I mean, we found people also deceased, that had wandered off and died of exposure. So it's, from a law enforcement standpoint, this is very, very practical because in some cities around the country, the rescue costs, if you don't take appropriate precautions to keep your loved one safe, especially if they've had this before, then law enforcement, because the counties and cities are strapped with money, go, all right, we need to charge you. And we've read reports in the news of anywhere, so there's $30,000 to $90,000 to try and go out and locate these people. It's not easy. And as being an ex-police officer, your resources are limited, and trying to find somebody that just walks away, and population of 3.5 million is very difficult to find some of these people.
And you walk away in this heat, it's deadly.
Right.
If you're gone for more than an hour.
The chances of somebody leaving, and once they've been gone for 24 hours, their chances of finding them alive diminish greatly. Mm-hmm. So, that's the thing that I'm looking at as a past officer. It was frustrating not being able to help some of these people, and it was just frustrating that you just don't have the time and resources to get out there.
This technology sounds like it's cutting edge with a lot of the different GPS, computers, the way to notify people, and thankfully technology is making our lives a lot easier in many respects. So go ahead.
Yep, and the thing with this is there's been other units out there that have strapped onto the belt, and if the person isn't wearing them, this one goes on the wrist. There can be a security button put on it so that they cannot remove it. It's rechargeable. This is the only unit out that has two-way communication and wearable, just like an oversized watch. So, it's not degrading to the person. It has the time on it. So it is essentially a watch to a lot of these people.
If a person went online and Googled something similar to this, do you think the product would come up? The reason I say that is because we're just now getting the information out there, and we want people to be able to find it.
Right now, this product is so new on the market. We got the first unit in the United States. Now we've gotten more in. We are the national distributors. Our thing is, our biggest challenge is to get the word out, but we are. The National Association of Alzheimer's is going to be taking a look at it. We've had other organizations taking a look at it, and so far the response has just been overwhelming. And your long-term care radio show, we're big believers in the Alzheimer's Association. We're big advocates. We've had representatives on to talk about the subject, so it's something that we do talk about on a regular basis. And that reminds me, we're talking to Jim Jeselun of Adiant Solutions.